So anyway, let's get started, chat. We all thought we knew Beth, but we really didn't.
You really don't.
Hi, my name is Beth Sutton. Technically, I don't know if I'm a new Elyites because I was born here. Born here, raised in Babbitt for 10 months. Then we went to Pittsburgh. So I grew up in Pittsburgh. I do have notes. Hold on. Let's see. So our vacations were always Babbitt, Ely, Grand Marais, because my mom's from Grand Marais. So there's that. I knew the Haverkamps in Ely. Lou's still alive, so I hang out with her every once in a while. Most of the people that lived on Birch Street in Babbitt, I got to know as I was growing up. I went to Penn State. I have a bachelor's degree in recreational therapy. So I was an activities director at nursing homes for 30 years. And now I'm here. My grandmother taught me how to waitress in Grand Marais at the age of 16. So that's why I'm here, to fall back on that. I moved back to Minnesota in '94, but only moved to Ely 3 years ago. I live with Charlie Parushek, if you know him. His uncle Pexi owned the bowling alley. So we're living in where he grew up on, oh my God, I don't even know the road. Yeah. Conan, thank you, Conan Street. I don't know. I have a son named Nick. He's 25 and lives in the cities. Any questions? What do I like to do for fun? I do like my beer. Yeah, I like to dance. I like to swim. I like to boat, fish, you know. I like anything with water. But anything else? I like that it's slower paced and more relaxing to drive in instead of zooming. I mean, I am a speeder, but it's okay. I haven't been caught by the Super Trooper yet. So. All right, anything else? Terry Jackson, what do you got?
Beth is one of the best bartenders that we have in Winston. She's been there. How long have you been there?
Oh God, what, 3 months? So I bartend at Sam's on Thursdays twice a month. Cause I'm not tired enough, but. Yeah, I should have been a comedian. I lost my.
On Sam's place, so we can see you on Thursdays.
Sure.
Field trip.
And field trip. Yeah, you'll see my eyes like bug out, go, oh no. Water's for everyone.
Are you the retired nun?
Oh, I would be struck by lightning if that was the case. No, I'm not a nun. I was born Catholic. No, that's it. All right, thanks. I'm going to check in a minute.
All right, the next couple, I met at my Thursday group at Northern Grounds. It's just like Tuesday group, except there's no speakers and there's alcohol. So people just show up. So Drew and Janet Prest, the new owners of Timber Bay Resort.
Morning, everybody. We just finished season number 1. We should trade. Season number 1, Timber Bay. We survived. Reminded of that every day. No, we are very excited to be stewarding such an amazing place. Timber Bay, we didn't know until we looked at it. By chance, we were the first people to look at it when it came up for sale last October, and here we are. So it is a special place, but I have loose notes that it's best for me to keep to, so I don't get the shepherd's hook on Randy. We took over in April. Timber Bay is on Birch Lake, if you don't know, just a mile and a half from town. We moved up with our children, Bijou. She is 18 and graduated from high school last year. She's taking a year off and gonna be going and getting trained with youth with a mission and stewarding somewhere around the world. She was in Bethel last year doing post-secondary work. So she's a little ahead of the game. We're gonna take a year off before she gets back to college. And our son's first day at Ely High School is happening right now. So he was happy and excited, and we're looking forward to him connecting with people and getting involved because.
Got 2 years of high school left.
So let's see. Armand and Bijou both are very much people persons, and they love winter activities, running, boating, all the things that we love. So we're very blessed that our family integration with resorting has been just fulfilling and fun. Janet and I met in '94 while we attended Covenant Bible College in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. So Janet knows a thing or two about cold weather because it's coming soon.
It's coming on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Our kids are well adjusted to the smaller school atmosphere, and I think we always look forward to coming back to a smaller town like Janet grew up with. So we're really excited about this change of pace. I grew up in Minneapolis and Champlin. We were married in the backyard of our home that we just sold in 2000. So this is 25 years for us. Let's see, getting up here was exciting. We closed in the resort the end of April. We had a graduation party May 28th and moved up here June 2nd officially. So it's been a
So
year.
we still have things in boxes. Yeah.
Houseboat 1 did not go in the water this year and still has all of our stuff in it. Maybe we'll get to unpacking this fall as we get more time. Timber Bay is a bigger operation. We weren't looking at something that scale, but the opportunity to steward a place that's that special was something we didn't want to pass up. Thankfully, we have partners in the operation. They are in Milwaukee, and they shore up all of the things that allow us to really focus on the operation. So marketing, technology, organization, finances. We have people behind the scenes helping us and supporting us all the time. So
even though they're not here physically, they're helping us daily.
It's wonderful. And as many of you will attest, the strength of a business is its employees. And we're very blessed that everybody stayed on from the previous owners. Ron and Beth have also been a tremendous support for us even now as we go through our first year and pretty soon closing up most of the cabins. So we have guys that have been there 38 years, 42 years, 12 years, and down the line. It's a part of our success while we're standing here now.
And owning a resort has been something we've been dreaming about for probably 10 years, at least. But the kids were little, so we weren't able to do it. But now they're older, and yeah, so this kind of just fell on our laps. This place.
Yeah, I grew up coming up to Boundary Waters, spending every minute I could at Grandpa's cabin in Aiken, and going to Hellier's Resort in Nestor Falls, Ontario. So it feels good that I don't have to leave anymore. That's it.
Did you have any entrepreneurial experience before you bought this business?
Yeah, I grew up in a small business family, so my parents have always been in retail. So finances and holidays and everything have always revolved around business. And so having everybody at our house and in our yard is natural for me.
Drew started out in the trades too. When we first got married, we were 25 years old, and he eventually started his own HVAC business and then became a contractor. So
We tried to be Chip and Joanna Gaines, where she got her
Realtor's
realtor's
license.
license and,
and then you were fixing the houses.
Yeah.
And then we decided we'd rather stay married because we ended up working 7 days a week and we were at each other's throats and
was-
no days off.
it was harder to do in the cities.
And we have mutual friends in the city.
That's right.
As business owners, how would you say your neighbors and your community can support you?
Checking in on us, making sure we have a muster moments during summers. And really just, that's kind of a joke, but not really, because connecting with people that are up here all the time is really helpful for us. It's been really fun for us to escape up to Ely and pop into Babbitt. And we really love how those spaces really, there's a distance there, but the people have really embraced us, which we found refreshing. A lot of times smaller towns aren't as open to new people.
Right.
And we found that to be just.
I'd say just in the first week of being up here and opening on May 9th, just having people pop in and say hi that lived in the area, live on Birch Lake, just down the road, was just so welcoming. And it reminded me so much of my childhood growing up in northern Saskatchewan in the small town that I was raised in. People would just stop by and you would always have coffee and cake or cookies on hand. And it reminded me of that. And every week since we've been here, we've had people just drop in. So
Yeah.
drop by anytime.
That's us. So pop in anytime.
So I'm familiar with some of the agencies that we've been on your community, so it might be helpful for you guys to tell the audience, because there's a lot of people here.
You know, like what mix of, you know, units you have, some of the new places that you have might interest people who have family visiting, and then the type of smaller cabins, and then how many houseboats you have. That might be interesting for people. Oh yeah, I've never been on a houseboat, so that's on my list.
Yeah, owning houseboats was not something that we thought we'd ever do, and it is wonderful. They're fun. To have a lake like Birch Lake that has 35 campsites, I believe, where you can pull up a cabin essentially to a bottom water style campsite. It is still a very quiet lake, and there's a lot of bays that you can make sure you're sheltered from traffic and or weather. So we have 12 boats on the water. Yeah, 12 boats on the water. We also have 7 fishing boats to rent, 3 pontoon, kayaks, canoes, and stand-up paddle boards. We have a small marina with a boathouse to support all of that fun stuff on the water. Along with that, we have 14 cabins. 1 we live in. So there are 3 year-round cabins that are more lodge style that will house 10 to 18 people. And then we have 12 small cabins
That
that,
range from 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or 3 bedroom.
yep, and those are seasonal. So as time goes and we find the energy and people and money to make cabins more year round, we do look forward to doing that. I really think that winter is something that people will really enjoy if you bring things for them to do. So I look forward to toboggan. We have a big hill. So tobogganing, sauna. I am dreaming of converting one of our houseboats into a sauna and leaving it in the marina year round so people can cold plunge. And we have a 5K ski track right out in front called the Plantation. And so connecting, I think, more with local people here for the year-round activities is something that we look forward to doing. Things like adventure races, triathlons, and whatever type of thing. Yeah, just getting involved in clubs and things like that we can facilitate out there. It's something we really look forward to. So hopefully that was a big, broad description, but yeah, it's a beautiful place. There's a lot you can engage with or get lost in. So. There are 4 full-time and another 11 part-time during the season, so we're up around 16 to 18 in full season. And then we do, everybody enjoys the layoff for the winter season, but you know, we'll see who will want to work year round because we plan on being busier.
Right.
So, yeah, don't want to take away fishing time from some of the guys. So.
Thank you.
So when I took this job over from Elton, I've learned there's a fine line between stalking and being friendly. And there's been some difficult moments. Anyway, so Whitney Woods had been looking for her for a year. And just serendipitously, she wandered into my Thursday at Northern Grounds and I recognized her, so. But she's a local artist, new Elyites. Are you ready? Whitney. A great addition to the community.
Hi, everybody. I am not a public speaker. By any means. Lacey knows that second time now that you've seen me nervously at a podium. You're doing great. So I am a new Elyites. I moved here in February with my family. I have 2 small children. I have a daughter that's 1 year old and a son that's 3 years old. And we moved from the Twin Cities where I was working at the Minnesota Historical Society as a senior marketing coordinator. And I really enjoyed working for Minnesota destinations and sites. I represented Split Rock Lighthouse and Minnesota Capitol Building, and we just were looking for a change of pace in terms of lifestyle with the kids. And I had some connections up here that were like, you should check it out. So I am now working as the marketing director for the Ely Area Tourism Bureau, and then also maintaining my artistic practice on the side. I have a studio. I make and sell candles at local galleries. If you want a candle, you can go to the Meadows. That's where I sell my candles. And I'm also a writer and I'm working on a novel right now. I was very fortunate to have a chance to go to the art center this summer for a week-long residency. So I worked on my novel there and it was great because I also got to see more of Ely, this amazing organization I didn't even know existed up here. And so it's been an incredible journey getting to know everybody here. I'm very personable one-on-one, maybe not in front of crowds. I'm personable in front of crowds, but I'm painfully awkward. If you see me out and about, you can say hi and introduce yourself to me because I am trying to get to know everybody in town as much as I can. And also in my role as a marketing director for the Ely Tourism Bureau, I think it's important for me to actually listen to the people who live in Ely and what they want to see from the town or the efforts to bring tourists in, or how we can kind of integrate the community into being active participants in how we bring tourists in. So it's not like it's happening to the community is welcoming people in on their own terms. So I am talking really fast. I'm not quite sure what else to say. Does anyone have any questions that might help a little bit? What do you like to do? What do I mean, I have 2 small children. Working mom. Do I do fun things anymore? I really like walking, which sounds kind of boring, but I live right near the Trezona Trail, so if I really need to just relax, I'm a huge music type person. I got my headphones in and I'm just in my own head and I go for a walk around there and that's like my happy space. And in general, it's really great to be up in Ely because there's such proximity to this beautiful forested wilderness, and I've always been kind of a nature gal, not a hardcore camper trekker. I'm talking like I can go home and take a shower afterwards. I do love a good tree. So yeah, I think that's mainly what I'm doing. And if I had more time, I definitely would be reading more. So when the kids get a little bit older and they're not teething, my daughter's teething right now. It was a rough night.
What kind of novel are you writing?
So I do more fantasy horror. A satirical fantasy horror. It's a satirical novel that includes analysis of capitalist structures in the realm of a Gothic landscape. So sometimes hard to explain it, but that's the pitch there. Yes.
Do you have a working?
It's called Transcendence. I'm halfway through it. My goal for the first draft is to be done by January and then have another year to do some polishing of it. And I would very much like to publish it. Yeah, my background in terms of art making is sort of a dry humor mixed with dark imagery.
We run a Trezona Trail walking with you, what would we hear out of your earphones?
Ooh, I love that.
You know, sometimes I put it down so that people can't hear, because sometimes I'm not. There's a lot of Taylor Swift. I actually like all sorts of music though, so it depends on my mood. I have playlists based off of mood. I actually have a playlist just for the novel if I'm trying to brainstorm, and it's more like dark sort of music. But so I like classical, I love pop, I love everything in between. I don't think there's a single genre I not listen to. Yeah.
What part of Ely are you thinking of pitching that we haven't pitched well in the past?
Oh, like for tourists?
Yeah.
I think that right now, well, the marketing plan that I inherited was great. There was a lot of emphasis on outdoor engagement and especially like paddling. And I think that going forward, the marketing plan is to encompass all of Ely. Not everybody is going to want to go paddling and hiking. Some people just want to have that small town charm. Maybe have a day trip where they go to some of the restaurants here. I want to pitch more of the arts and culture because there's a very strong arts and culture scene right here that I don't think people outside of the area know about, and I'd love to let people know about that. And then also I want to expand to power sports enthusiasts as well. I think there could be more power sports enthusiasts that could come up here in terms of diversifying the types of things that people can do.
What would be the most helpful thing we can do for you as a mom?
Yeah.
Offer babysitting. I'll even pay for it. I just need somebody to help. We're right now, we're working on getting our kids into Happy Days, but there is a wait list, and also my son is really fighting the potty training, so we're on that journey right now. But yes, if anybody knows a good babysitter, we will pay. We just don't know a lot of people in town, so that would be helpful. Thank you. Or if I'm leaving Northern Grounds and I can't get the door open because there's this huge double stroller, just open the door for me.
told Brittany we look forward to hosting her when she publishes her book.
All right, next up, sorry to disappoint you, Elton, but she's not really a nun. I just saw her as a nun once. Just, the image is burned in my mind. Mary Flom, very new Elyites.
Elyites. I'm Mary Flau. I never was a nun, even though I wore a costume once. So can you hear me back there? Okay. So I moved here on May 1st. I moved here by myself from Portland, Oregon. And I've lived in 7 states. I did live in Minnesota for from 78 to 85. So I feel like I'm like back to my roots. I grew up in Wisconsin, Milwaukee suburb. And I'm not going to name all the 7 states, but I want to tell you that I did live in China for 2 years, which was a thrill. It was great. I lived there from the beginning of 2006 until the end of 2008. And the reason I moved there, oh, there's a fly here. The reason I moved there was because my husband was a scientist and his company offered him a position there. So I could talk to you for hours about China, but I'll try to just make it a few minutes. Some of the things I enjoyed doing when I was there was I was in a hiking club, and every week, every Wednesday, there was a group of us and we'd go off hiking in the mountains. And I was in a book club and a noodle club where we'd go to different restaurants and we would evaluate the service, the cost, and of course the noodles. And I really liked the people. I enjoyed getting to know people in a different country, a different culture. And I liked being in a minority. I liked walking down a street in China and everyone around me was Chinese. I thought it was really a good experience to do that. Oh, and I had a personal trainer there because it only cost $20 an hour. So that was nice. And I got massages every week. And I got to travel a lot because I was living there, and I went to Tibet and I slept in a yurt in Inner Mongolia. I went to Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand and Myanmar. I traveled a lot around Southeast Asia. People often ask me about the language barrier, and my answer was I knew enough Mandarin so I could get myself home in a taxi. That was a big plus. Let's see. About my hobbies. So I really like to swim. I built a house on Garden Lake, and I've been going swimming every day in Garden Lake. So I do like that. I like to garden. I go hiking. I like to travel and cooking, sewing, knitting, kayaking. I have a new kayak and a new dock, so I can just go out my door and hop in my kayak. And I like to read. Why did I move to Ely? So the main reason I moved here was my sister lives here and I had been visiting her. Her name's Kathy Vanderboom. So some of you know the Vanderbooms, Kathy and Russ. Anyway, I've been coming to visit my sister, and my husband died 2 years ago and my sons live in Arizona. So I decided it's just me. I can live wherever I want. So that's why I wanted to live by family. So that was a big incentive. But some of the things I like about here is first of all, I like the way people drive here. They don't cut you off like they do in Oregon. And I like swimming and having a loon pop up like 10 feet away from me. Such a thrill. I like the small town feel of Ely. I like going in the grocery store or the liquor store and I run into somebody that I know. Or I was in Mike's liquor store recently and I started to talk to the owner about Oregon wines. And we stood and talked for an hour. It was great. And I like when I go to Ace Hardware, and Bob is my best friend in Ace Hardware. I walk in and he says, "Hi, Mary, how are you?" Like where I lived in Oregon for 15 years. Nobody at Home Depot or Lowe's ever knew me. That's been great. Let's see, just on field balloons, Bob. I have the two sons that live in Arizona, and one son has been up here to visit me, and the other son's coming soon. So hopefully I can get them to come more often and enjoy how great Ely is. And one of the things I wanted to tell you about my husband, when he was sick and dying, we had a big house on a lake in Oregon. And I said to him one time, the idea of me living in this house by myself, I find it horrible, dreadful, awful, sad, all those negative words. And he said to me, "Mary, just sell the house and move wherever you want to go." So I feel really glad that I got that blessing and that permission and that from him. That's my story. Anyone have any questions about her? Any questions?
What is one book you would recommend to? You said you really like reading. Do you
I
have
really like to
a
read.
book that stands out that you've particularly enjoyed lately?
Russ's novel.
I read his first novel quite a few years ago and I've kind of forgotten it. I got to reread it. I read a lot of books about China. There's one that I really enjoyed, Life and Death in Shanghai. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions? No? If anyone here has been to China or wants to go, I'm happy to talk more about China to them.
So Lacey, my book of the year is West with the Night by Beryl Markham.
West with the Night.
West with the Night. Fantastic. All right. So one good part about my job here is all the referrals I get. So Kay Vandervoort recommended Chloe Wallstrom, who she works with at the Dorothy Moultrie Museum.
Hi, this is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Chloe. Randy told me to bring props, so I also brought props. So when that's relevant, I'll grab it. My name is Chloe Wallstrom. I work at the Dorothy Moultrie Museum. This is actually my second summer up here. I came up here last year for an internship. My classmates at college had interned here the year before, and so I came up last year, loved it. So I came up here for the full year, and so I am doing an official management internship for the entire year at the Dorothy Moultrie Museum. So if you see me around, that's where I am. Live and breathe root beer. Jess is amazing, an amazing boss. But I obviously was not born here. I was born in and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I spent a lot of time there, obviously. And speaking of Catholicism and nuns, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school. That prepped me very well for college. College was an interesting thing. I originally, 18-year-old me, fresh, bushy-eyed, bright-tailed, all of that. I wanted to start big. So I moved to LA for fashion design. COVID hit, moved back home. I did not want to be that far from home again in case another pandemic came up for some reason. So I went and continued to go to my college of Southeast Missouri State. It's about 2 hours south of St. Louis, and that's where I've been for the last 5 years. In there, I really got into history, art, costuming design to pass along some of those fashion design credits that were really expensive. And then I also got into horses So I competed at the college level. I worked at my barn, doing feeding. I would help, move them in and out. I would clean the stalls. I actually in college had 3 jobs, while going to school full time, competing in horse competitions. So my 3 jobs were industrial embroidery, childcare. So if you need any babysitting, I'm always down for babysitting. I did that for 3 years. It was at my local church, or one of the local churches there, while the parents were doing services. I would help take care of the kids. And then I also did the horse care as well. And then a few odd jobs as well. I'm always trying to find new jobs, find new income. So if you have any ideas, the museum is going down to partial hours. So I need a second job. So. Keep that in mind. Perfect. I do have food service experience, so that's good. Obviously I graduated. Now this is a mouthful. You're getting the full experience, not just the little snap bite that I usually tell people. I got my degree in, or a Bachelor of Science in the interdisciplinary studies. Basically, I made my own major. So I combined historic preservation with a focus in museum studies. So old buildings, downtown initiatives, things like that, trying to keep history alive in everyone's minds today. Then I also did costume design as well, and I tried French, but then there was a whole thing. So, it's hard to learn French when all your teachers leave the school. So that was a bummer. Obviously I graduated last year, and then I spent the last year back in my hometown, or not, back in Cape, where I just moved from, working at my industrial embroidery place, doing all the jobs I did before, but more. It was easier now that I wasn't doing school full time as well. And then Jess called up, said, hey, I need somebody. And I said, I can do it if I can move up here. And she said, absolutely. So that's where I am. My prop. So I mentioned I did historical costuming. So this is a 1770s stay. It's not hand sewn. That would be insane. And I did have a deadline of finals. But if you want to come look at it, I got a really good grade on it. I'm really proud of it. But if you want to talk about history, historic fashion, Dorothy Moulter, again, Dorothy Moulter is now my job. Hobbies I do for fun. I'm a jack of all trades, as you can tell. I do sewing, I do knitting, crochet, cooking, baking, horses, dogs. I'm trying to get into winter sports. I recently got my motorcycle license. Throw that one out there as well. If you're trying to get into your motorcycle's license, I highly taking the safety course. It makes learning so much easier, and it takes the test, makes it easier. That's a great way to do it safely, because motorcycles are dangerous. That is repeatedly emphasized. Any questions?
Have you had a chance to meet Rosa out at Ethel's Acres with the horses there?
I have not yet. I've worked on time, so I didn't have the chance.
We'll have to get you connected out there.
Absolutely.
In due time.
Yes, I would love to work with horses again. I miss it a lot. Yes. Yes.
Two people with historical costuming and 18th century stay experience. I didn't even know that word. Are you both Outlander fans?
Absolutely. Yes, during the pandemic, I was really bored and I didn't have kids at the time. So I just watched a lot of YouTube videos and learned how to make historical undergarments.
Yeah, yeah.
Very similar. Great time.
Boy, my name is Reed Karen. I graduated from Southeast Missouri State in 1969. Yeah. So did you work on restoration of any of the great old houses in Cape Girardeau?
I did not. I did have a chance to do field school. So we went to St. John and we looked at all this, the state and the federal, houses there. Super great thing. So we learned like window treatments. Made up plans for potential interpretive spaces, all of that, but we weren't able to work on any of the houses in the program shipped to the Little Sense then.
Love those small world connections. Wait, pop back there so you can say your question in the microphone, sir.
I'll just speak loud. There's another St. Louis and the inevitable question is, what high school did you go to?
Ooh, St. Louis High School.
I was waiting for that. Narings Hall.
How do you feel about that,
How about
sir?
you?
The neighbor, that's all.
What about you? Where did you go?
I'm actually from Chicago originally, but live in Glendale.
Oh, fun. Okay. Any other questions? Also, I was just in Chicago for a concert. I just got back 2 days ago.
What concert was it?
My Chemical Romance.
Ooh, nice.
It was super fun. We had Devo, Smashing Pumpkins came out. It was great. I also like going to concerts. That is an expensive hobby. Yeah. I will hold up any more time. Thank you.
Okay, next up, a couple I met here a couple of weeks ago, Zoe and Greg Rochester.
Afternoon, I'm Zoe Rochester, and this is Greg. I was born and raised in Hibbing, and always knew, our year-round home is in Amory, Wisconsin, which is about 40 miles east of North Branch, southeast. We lived in Wisconsin because I'm a retired science teacher, middle school science teacher. And that's what brought me from Minnesota to Wisconsin. But I've always loved northern Minnesota. I feel like the air and the water, it courses through my veins, and I just was not happy there. So we found this lovely cabin on Shagwa. So we're here May through mid-October. We have not found a way to extract ourselves from a year-round home yet. So I'm not gonna say anything more about that. I love Ely. I love the energy here. I love the dynamics of the people. We started coming up for the film festival and just thrilled, and just everything we do here is so enriching and so exciting. I mentioned I was a middle school science teacher, and I love that. I was blessed to be in a school district that gave me a lot of reins, and I did a lot of hands-on kind of teaching, because I was kind of a square peg in a round hole as a student myself, so I got to really be creative in my teaching. Now that I'm retired, I love to knit. I dabble around with pastel. I make sourdough. I love gardening. I love hiking. Oh, yeah. I started making jewelry from antique trade beads about 15 years ago, and I've had some success with that. I've had My jewelry sold in the Minneapolis Institute of Art gift shop. So I make some kind of strong statement, kind of bold color. Awfully pretty jewelry. I think that's about it. We were a blended family, so I had 2 kids. And they're both adults right now. One still lives in Minneapolis and one is in Texas. Which I can't believe why he never lived in Texas. I'll let Greg talk about his children, but when we'd all get together, it was a beautiful, beautiful energy between the 2 families. So I feel really blessed with that. I think that's about all I'll say for now.
Hi, I'm Greg. I didn't come from here. My background is from Wyoming and South Dakota. And I spent a lot of my growing up time in Rapid City, the Black Hills. And I think that's one of the things that got me really interested in being here, because I love the woods and I love the pines and that kind of thing. But anyway, after high school, I went to college in eastern South Dakota, then did some school teaching for a while, and then went on to graduate school in Indiana at Indiana University. Got my degrees in clinical psychology. And I went on to get an internship at the Mayo Clinic, which led me to Minnesota. And after that, got my first job at a hospital in Hibbing. So that's where Zoe and I met. So I lived in Chisholm, but my practice was in Hibbing. And I like to say, I was a clinical psychologist for several years, and I finally got well. And I became an artist. And so for the past 35 years, I've been a landscape artist and have had very good success with that. I've been represented in galleries throughout the country. My work is collected in several different places, including internationally. Do any of you know Jerry Winger? No, Jerry has a place here. I think a couple of his kids do too. But anyway, I was told, I haven't seen it yet. He's one of my collectors, and apparently his house here is like a Greg Rochester art museum, full of my work. I especially like working with healthcare settings, and I've kind of incorporated some of my psychology background with my art and helping people heal through the use of art. I'm still very active as a painter, although one of the things that helped me come here to Ely is when I come here, I don't paint. This is my respite, and I like that a lot. I have 2 children, also both grown, one in Chicago, one in Minneapolis. And Zoe and I have had a great time both working in arts together and supporting each other with that. I think that's all I have. Any questions?
Do you think we'll ever be able to buy some of your jewelry and some of your landscapes here in town? For, at the Meadows or something like that? At the Folk School Mercantile?
I've been looking for an outlet where I could, my jewelry is really kind of a unique niche. A person has to, if they're looking for daily wear kind of jewelry, I don't make a lot of that, but I would love to find a spot in this area where I could feature some work.
Perhaps the Art and Soul Gallery,
Yeah.
just thinking out loud.
So I'm currently looking for an outlet because where I am right now isn't really. I was in also a gallery in Hudson, Wisconsin, and it's just not the right fit. So yeah, I'm open to suggestions because sometimes I consider stopping and selling all my materials because I can't find a good venue for selling, and why take up all that space when I could use it for a yoga room or something like that. So yeah, I'm open to suggestions. I also thought of maybe applying for the Harvest Moon Festival next year. So I'm gonna check it out this weekend with an eye of, would this fit for me or not?
Swing by the market tonight, Tuesday market, there's a lot of jewelers there too.
Yeah, farmer's market.
My stuff is a little different than what you'd see in when we were at the Blueberry Fest, I looked carefully at that jewelry and, with the eye of, does my stuff fit? Would it be accepted? Like I said, I've had the comments like, your work is really beautiful, but I don't wear that much jewelry, or I don't wear jewelry of that type, but your stuff is really beautiful. But so it's kind of, I have to find the right fit.
The question is, how do you incorporate psychology?
Let me just tell you briefly about the last project I did. I came in contact with a physician in Amory, Wisconsin, who had been diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease that was fatal. And he had lost his ability to work and was just pretty much facing death. And I was called in and I worked with him. He was only supposed to live for 2 years, and I taught him to paint. And even though he had difficulty with walking and other things, he still seemed to be able to deal with the paintbrush. And so I worked with him every week and taught him to paint. Long story short, he lived 10 years. We had an art show of his work, sold his work. He was featured in several medical magazines because of his condition and how art helped him through that time. But most importantly, I think, is what it did for him, for his soul and his self-esteem. So that's an example of something I would do with that.
It was a beautiful thing to witness. The neurologist kept saying, I don't know what you're doing to sustain your health this long through this horrible disease. It was amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Go ahead.
One more question?
Yeah, I saw, speaking, one of your paintings at the hub, and it's prominently hanging in there at the hub. I just wondered, it's a beautiful painting, and it brings in all the seasons. What prompted you to do that, or how did you go about that?
Okay, what he's talking about is that at the new hub, I'm in a men's group there, and I donated a print of one of my paintings, which depicts a woodland scene where the seasons change in the same scene. So you start off with summer and you move through. It's all the same woods, but you see the change in the seasons through it. Actually, I'd like to tell you that it came from some inspiration of great creativity. But actually it came from a commission that I had from a lawyer who asked me to paint a very, very large piece. And he asked me to do specifically that. He said, can you do a woodland scene with the seasons changing in it? And I had done several paintings before where I had done 4 separate paintings, maybe of the same scene, but of different seasons. This is the first where it blended through like that. So that's where that idea came from.
We'll have to go check it out.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you, Greg and Zoe.
Thank you.
Just, looking ahead, next week, we're gonna hear from Bonnie Henriksen, and she is a life coach who's specifically gonna be talking about transitioning from working and into retirement and finding purpose in retirement. And although that might sound like a niche topic, I think it's relevant for all ages, because even though I'm still 35 years out from retirement, I'm still gonna think about that. And even if you're already retired, maybe it would be helpful to still settle in and do some thinking with someone about how you spend your time. So I look forward to seeing you here then next week. And the following week, we're hearing from a soundscape artist, an audio professional who will be coming off of having been in the Boundary Waters. So he'll be doing some audio recording and talking with his professional expertise about the wilderness soundscape. So I think that will be interesting. Moment of gratitude for the Grand Daily Lodge. Make sure, come back another time, grab a beverage or a snack, a dessert to go, tip your servers. Thank you so much to Beth for presenting today while also working. And thank you to Randy Greiner, our volunteer who coordinates the Meet New Elyites. So if you have a new Elyiite, or if you yourself have never introduced yourself up here, we'd love to hear from you, and you can work with Randy to make that happen. Ben, it sounds like you dodged a bullet today, but you might not get away with it anytime. See you next time.